Hello, Giants fans, and welcome to your Giants News Roundup for Friday, February 11th. I'm your host, Ed Valentine of Big Blue View. Today's Giants News Roundup really revolves around the Giants continuing to fill out spots on the coaching staff for new head coach Brian Daboll. On Thursday, there were 4 reported hirings. Mike Groh at wide receivers coach, Andre Patterson at defensive line coach, Tony Sperano Jr. as assistant offensive line coach, and John Egarugwo as the linebackers coach. So what's really impressive about what the Giants have done so far with the coaching staff, General Manager Joe Schoen said that he wanted assistant coaches with NFL experience. And thus far, each one of the assistant coaches added to Brian Daboll's coaching staff all have had extensive NFL experience. Patterson, for example, the team's new defensive line coach, is 61 years old, had his first NFL job in 1997. Most recently was with the Minnesota Vikings, where he worked from 2014 through the 2021 season. Mike Groh is the son of former Giants assistant coach Al Groh. Mike has been coaching in the NFL since 2000, spent 2 years, 2018, 2019, as offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and was most recently wide receivers coach for the Indianapolis Colts for the last couple of seasons. Egarugwo had been working at Vanderbilt, but spent 6 years prior to that coaching in the NFL, coaching both with the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. So he is familiar to both head coach Brian Daboll and to defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. Tony Sperano Jr. has been coaching in the NFL since 2011. In his first year as an NFL coach, he worked with Daboll in Miami when Daboll was the offensive coordinator there in 2011. So the Giants staff is coming together at this point. And what's what's really interesting is the amount of experience that we're seeing added to this staff. And it's impressive, but I was thinking about this as well. We were impressed. We thought that Joe Judge in 2020 had put together a quality coaching staff. All of these guys had had success in the jobs that they had previous to coming to the Giants. But as we learned, the problem with Judge's coaching staff was that there was very little NFL experience on it. Judge, being a first-time NFL head coach, leaned on a lot of his connections at the college ranks and brought in a coaching staff that he thought would be able to teach and connect to a young roster. But I think that one of the problems that we saw, one of the reasons for some of the dysfunction that we saw during games, just in terms of timeouts and penalties and substitutions and situations where the Giants didn't seem prepared. To me, when you reflect back on it, some of that had to do or had to be impacted by the fact that the Giants had very little NFL experience on their sideline when it came to the position coaches. That's not going to be a problem with this current staff. Obviously, we don't know how the Giants are going to do. They could still be awful in 2022. We don't know. But right now, this looks like a quality coaching staff being assembled by Brian Daboll. Interestingly, we had reports earlier in the week from Aaron Wilson, who's a respected NFL insider, that Rob Ryan, Brian Cox, and Dean Wilkins, 2 of those guys connected to Wink Martindale from the Baltimore Ravens, and Brian Cox, a former NFL player, who also spent a decade coaching defensive linemen. We had reports that they were under consideration and could be joining the Giants coaching staff. But as of now, doesn't look like any of those guys has been added to the staff, and spots are filling up. So we may be in a situation where none of those guys actually does get added to the staff, although we'll have to see it. And one caveat to all of this, Giants fans, is that none of these hirings beyond head coach Brian Daboll, including Mike Kafka on the offensive side as offensive coordinator, Wink Martindale on the defensive side as defensive coordinator, none of these hirings has been officially announced by the Giants. They are all simply reported hirings at this point in time. No reason to doubt the information that we have at this point, but none of these hirings has been officially announced by your New York Football Giants. So just keep that in mind. If you hear conflicting information regarding who's coaching a certain position, or if you wonder why you haven't heard Rob Ryan being added to the staff or anything like that, just keep in mind that these are at this point in time unofficial hirings because the Giants have not announced them. Just another quick note, something that I didn't mention earlier in the week, the Giants did sign quarterback Davis Webb, their former third-round pick back in 2017, and punter Jamie Gillen, to reserve futures contracts. Interesting signings. Webb had reportedly been considering retiring and taking a coaching position in Buffalo, but will continue to play. Gillen could be a replacement for punter Riley Dixon, inconsistent the last couple of years and carrying a fairly large cap hit heading into 2022. Giants obviously strapped for cap space. Joe Schoen has said he needs to or wants to cut roughly $40 million from the cap, needs to cut at least 20 to get underneath the 2022 salary cap, probably needs to cut another 20 just to sign the rookie class and have space to operate. So a signing like Gillen could be an indication that the Giants are going to try to get away with a low-cost punter in 2022. All right, Giants fans, please remember to stop by bigblueview.com for all of your Giants news, information, opinion, analysis. We're doing everything we can these days to keep you up to date on all of the things going on with your New York Giants. Please remember also to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and also subscribe on all of your favorite podcast applications if you're listening to us that way. Thank you, Giants fans, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.